the divine constitution, and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known for the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed properly according to the Circle 7. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Fridays are holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended on to his Father, God Allah. So that caused fightings to holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No members put in danger or accuse falsely his brother, sister, or any occasion at all that may harm his brother, sister, and Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a portion of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865, during the time of slavery. But this is a new time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by them which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from the sinful ways. The Moorish America are descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a portion of all living acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members pay their dues to keep in line with all the sense of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey her to take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must be father and mother and be industrious and become a part of everything that fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine comes from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his father, Allah. Noble Jew Ali founded Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Jew Ali. Amen. Now I read from our additional laws by the prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Act 1. Grand chiefs and governors and heads of all temples and all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Before acting on by the members, that be find as property or any line of life that would cause a member to sacrifice finances, etc., that would cause the support of any group of members. Any form of office that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under every restriction accepted by the prophet or the Grand Sheik. Act 2. All members shall attend their adult meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around their meeting period, should be fined 50% on the first case, and on the second, will be fined $1, which will go in the emergency fund. The members' wages, what they do, must be paid. If money in bank, must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish uplifting fund because the state's finance for uplifting nation. Act 3. It's lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he's able to finance, saving, and saving the nation. And if he does not, he's an enemy to the cause of uplift his own people, justice and let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have power and rest in my hands. And I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use an assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church. Remember the whole language because we ought to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school. And the teacher must conform himself to the questionnaire. Let every member exercise his 5 senses, or they can do so, because out from the Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, Ethiopians. Because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and last 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim this free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from sinful ways. Moorish Americans are the descendants of ancient Moabites who inhabit northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a parcel of all the living acts of the Moor Science Temple. Members pay their dues to keep in line with all the essentials of the Moor Science Temple, then you're entitled to the name of faith. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband, take care of your children, and look at the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother, be industrious, and they can be part of the uplifting and fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love, and their bodies clean with water. This divine comes from the holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for the guidance of the Father God, Allah. I read my Holy Koran, Moor Science Temple of America. And I'm reading page 3. Know thyself and thy Father God Allah. The industrious acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. These are the Moabites, Hematites, Canaanites, who were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and received permission from the Pharaoh of Egypt to settle in that portion of Egypt. In later years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms are called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. Islam.
Islam.
Good to see you all. Okay, and we're going to have our Sunday school instructor with our Joe today. Then she can moderate as our Sunday school instructor. And he's on his way up. Looking good out there.
Thank you.
Really are.
Much love. Much love.
Now we're going to exercise our minds, get into this lesson. Our instructor is a good instructor. I hope that you have you're ready to do some thinking. Okay.
Yes.
Islam.
Okay. Allah, Father of the universe,
Lord, Father,
love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet,
no one.
Amen. Praise the Lord. How's everyone?
Good,
Very
man.
great.
Oh,
Very
praise
good. Okay. Praise God. Okay, let's start. Who made you?
Allah.
Who is Allah?
Allah is the Father of the universe.
Can we see him?
No,
Where's the nearest place we can meet?
in the heart.
Who is Noble Dua?
He is Allah's prophet.
What is a prophet?
The prophet is the Lord of Allah manifest in the flesh.
What is the duty of a prophet?
To save nations from the wrath of Allah.
Who is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America?
No duality.
What year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded?
1913 AD.
Where?
New York, New Jersey.
Where was Noble Dua born?
In the state of North Carolina, 1886.
What is his nationality?
Moorish American.
What is your nationality?
Moorish American.
Why are we Moorish American?
Because we are descendants of Moroccans born in America.
For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded?
We are living for humanity.
What is our religion?
Islamism.
Is that a new or is that the old time religion?
Old time religion.
What kind of a flag is a Moorish?
It is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center.
What do the 5 points represent?
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
How old is our flag?
It is over 10,000 years old.
Which is our holy day?
Friday.
Why?
Because Friday is the day on which man was formed in the flesh. It was on Friday when he brought out the flesh.
Who was Jesus?
He was the prophet of Allah.
Where was he born?
In Bethlehem of Judah in the house of David.
Who were his father and mother?
Joseph and Mary.
Will you give in brief the line genealogy through which Jesus came?
Some of the great fathers through which Jesus came are Abraham, boys by Ruth, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, Joseph by Mary.
Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth?
To save the Israelites from the iron-hand oppression of the Mexican nations of Europe, who were governed with portions outside at that time.
How long has that been?
About 2,000 years ago.
What was the nationality of Ruth?
Ruth was Moabites,
What is the modern name for Moabite?
Moroccans,
Where is the Moroccan Empire?
northwest of Mexico,
What is the modern name for a Mexican?
Africa,
What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco?
Sultan,
Where do we get the name Jesus?
from the east.
What does the name Jesus mean?
Jesus means justice.
Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name?
Yes, they cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin.
What is an angel?
And angels are thought of Allah manifesting in human flesh.
What are angels used for?
To carry a message to the four corners of the world to all nations.
What is our prophet to us?
He is an angel of Allah who is sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah.
What is the everlasting gospel?
It is the saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his prophet.
What is the covenant of the great God, Allah?
Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may go on on the earth, and restore that God Allah has given thee.
At what age did Jesus begin to teach?
At the age of 12,
Where did he teach?
India, Africa, and Europe,
How long did he teach?
18 years.
What did Jesus say that would make you free?
Truth,
What is truth?
truth is all.
What is all?
All is Allah.
Can truth change?
Truth cannot change or pass away.
What other name do we give the truth?
Holy breath.
What have you to say about holy breath?
All we can say is great, it is good, it was, and is, and never more to be. Amen.
At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed?
In the Garden of Eden,
Where is the Garden of Eden?
and the land of Canaan, and the city of Mecca.
What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden?
Mecca.
What is the title? What is the name of the first physical man?
His name cannot be used only by executive rulers of AC of the University of A.
What are the words of AC of them as TFA?
That chamber of more science symbol of America, third heaven.
Who were Adam and Eve?
They are the mothers and fathers in the human family, Asiatics and Muslims.
Where did they go?
They went to Asia,
What is the modern name given to their children?
Asiatics,
Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away?
angels,
What is the modern name for those angels?
Asiatics,
What is the shade of their skin?
olive.
Are the Moorish Americans any relation to those angels?
Yes, they all have the same father and mother.
Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve.
Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast.
What is the devil sometimes called?
Lord self.
How many cells are there?
2.
Name them.
Higher self and lower self.
What people represent the higher self?
The angels who protect the holy city of Mecca.
What people represent the lower self?
those who cast out those sin and those who accept their teaching.
What is the higher self?
The higher self is among the virtues and the harmonies of life and greed, justice, and mercy of the right.
Can the higher self pass away?
No.
Why?
Because it's our reign.
What does the lower self breed?
Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms.
Can the higher self pass away?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna read something from the literature, and it's by the prophet. It's something that we may need to give some attention to that maybe we haven't. But it's right in the course of what we're doing. I'm going to read from the article in the Morris literature. And the title of the article is Morris Costumes Ball. It says, so enthusiastic was the reception of the costumes worn by the Moorish Americans during their parade that members of the Moorish Science Temple of America have decided to have at different times what they will call a Moroccan costume ball. This affair will be had shortly after the holidays, about New Year's Eve. The prophet consented that this could be for the entertainment of the members. Other groups of people in the city have been using the dress of our forefathers and imitating them, all but the olive hue that they cannot get. During the Moorish convention, more than 1,500 Moroccan costumes were rented to Europeans who had seen the program and knew the Moors were to have a costume parade. But nevertheless, we were successful in obtaining through certain Asiatic costume dealers all the costumes we wanted. The Moorish costume ball will be among the first of such giving, where an idea is put forth that has to do with the origin of the millions of people in this country who can trace their ancestors back to the illustrious founders of civilization. It will remind the descendants of these people of the time when their forefathers were the main people to spread the most progressive ideas of civilization. In fact, they saved civilization many times. When more barbaric tribes from the north were ravishing all countries they were permitted to enter, it was the forefathers of the Moorish Americans and their near kin that saved the historic records that were threatened during the days when the burning of libraries was a fad for despotic soldiers. This costume ball will be much looked for and appreciated by the prophet. Okay, that article was written and it was sanctioned by Prophet Noble Drawley. What is the subject of that particular article?
Civilization. Moorish costume ball.
It was what?
Moorish costume ball.
So we're saying that the subject, the main subject in this particular article was what?
Moorish costume.
Okay, costumes, right?
Costume.
Okay, what's the costume? It's your title, right?
Attire.
Okay, now listen. Many of us have a tendency to say Islamic wear that we wear is our custom. That's not necessarily so. The prophet identified our custom in this article. Did you hear it?
Yes.
What was it? What was it? No. What was it? Did he not say Moroccan?
Yes.
The Moroccan costumes are our customs.
That's right.
We have a tendency to wear Islamic customs and then we adopt them and say that they're ours. But that may not necessarily be true. Do you know what our customs look, our descendant costumes look like?
No.
Or do you grab something that you say is Islamic and say it's Moorish? Suppose it's not Moorish. It very well could belong to another nation, a nationality of people. And you could be representing another nation in their costume, but you don't know your own. You're ready to adopt someone else's, but you don't know your own. So the question is, how do you identify our costume? Come on, brother.
I know, I can't pronounce the name, but I know the pants that we wear. Yeah.
Okay.
I know that's one of them.
That's one of them. That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's one of them. What else? Come on, brother Cooper.
Praise God, to the prophet. My name is T. Cooper Hill. By his feds and he by his turban.
That's right, brother Cooper. That's good. That's good. Come on, boy.
My costume would be the knowledge and understanding.
No more. We're talking about physical costumes. We're talking about costumes.
I'm just, you know.
Come on, brother Alexander Bay.
Yes, Mo. Praise the Lord. To the prophet. I'm glad you asked that question. When we look at things, you say something that was very resonant with me. They want to distill our culture and our costume.
Right.
When you go back and look,
Right.
remember we was merchants and traders.
Right.
And you have to look at what our descendants,
Right.
our forefathers
Right.
were wearing. Then
Right.
you can get an idea
Right.
what is right,
Right.
what is correct.
Right.
Peace, Mo.
Right. Okay. What else? Come on, brother McGee Bay.
That's why, one of the things that I have reference to is some of the pictures that
That's
surrounded
right.
around with the prophet
That's right.
during the time of the prophet.
That's
I don't think that they would have permitted to wear that around the prophet
That's right.
if those costumes weren't.
Right. Right. And that's the point. Have we looked at those pictures? I mean, really looked at those pictures. Because those pictures let us know what our costumes are. Come on, sister.
It's I would like to add with Brother Crawford on that with the pantaloon,
Yeah.
the stitching is only on the inside
Yeah.
of the pants.
I never
I-
noticed that.
I could buy pants that look like pantaloons with first glance, but a traditional pantaloons are only stitched from the inside.
Praise the Lord. That's good. That's a good observation. I didn't even know that.
It's,
Yeah.
well, did I hear you read that article that, during that time, 1,500 costumes are rented by the Europeans?
Yeah, when they learned that we were going to have, that's the first parade. At our first parade that the prophet was that attended, there were the Europeans who knew what the program was, so they went and they purchased over 1,500 costumes. But remember, he specifically said Morocco.
That's right. Say something about the sister over the color of the rainbow.
No, that's with the turban.
Oh,
That's
see.
Come on, Mom.
The picture of the Moorish chief,
Yeah,
see that picture? That's our costume.
that's one of them.
Yeah, that's a nice costume. I like myself.
Yeah. The reason I'm bringing it up is because, people are recognized by what their attire is. See, many people have adopted wearing what we refer to as Islamic costumes. But they may have an Islamic flavor, but they may not be our costume. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to promote our own. See, sometimes other nations look at you with their attire on, and they sometimes resent you wearing their costume, especially when you start to attempt to make them your own.
That's what the prophet said that we did, looking at them taking ours.
Exactly. So it would behoove you to find out exactly what your costumes are. Because if we're trying to bring our people into the consciousness of who we are and who our ancient forefathers were, it's important that they know the kind of attire that we wear.
That's right.
But you gotta familiarize yourself with it, so that you know. Some other things, come on.
It's not like, for instance, I recognize like, I know the kufi in the dashik is that
Right.
our time,
Right,
but often Moors may wear it.
right, right.
And I'm not sure, crown,
Sister, the crown.
Moorish, sister,
Sister with a crown.
well, you could be correct, but I haven't seen any pictures where Moors was donning crowns. I mean, it could be, but I'm not sure.
If you look on some of them, older pictures, you can see how certain sisters wore certain headdresses, okay, that we don't see a lot now.
Right.
But in the early days, they were very, elegant, yes, but they were very, when something is,
Distinct.
Visible.
huh?
Visible.
Yeah, they were more visible, you know, and more common.
More relevant.
Yeah, they were more, you saw them more than you really see them now. I haven't seen them like that for a long time. They used to wear them at the earlier conventions that I went to, you know, they used to wear those crowns, the sisters, I guess it's called a crown, you know, and the way that their head attire. Their attire was somewhat different, you know. But you need to look at some of them pictures so you can familiarize yourself with what you're looking at. Come on.
Islam, praise long prophet. If I can find it.
Yes.
I have an encyclopedia of ancient international costumes and attire, or I
Yes.
think it's attire or garbs,
Yes.
somewhere in all my books. And I'm going to try to find it and see if I can't print out
Okay.
some of the images that are specifically Moorish.
Okay, that'd be good.
So I can share with more.
That'd be good. If you can find that in your extensive library, which I believe you have, I hope that you can find it because we can benefit from it. Come on, Sister Farcia.
Islam.
Islam.
Long tops, long tunic top.
Right. So look, come on, Mo.
The headdress,
Yeah,
that's part of the custom
yes,
attire.
yeah,
I think sometimes when people wear headdress
right,
and they put on a certain outfit, they
Right.
think that's the whole
right,
attire because it's a headdress.
right,
They start from the head on down.
right.
So I think sometimes people get confused with what they're wearing at the bottom.
Right. Sometimes they get confused with what they're wearing at the top. You know, because you really got to make sure that it's. See, when we wear certain things, we need to know what we're wearing. We need to really know if this is of our custom or have we adopted someone else's custom.
That's right.
Just don't put stuff on because you may think, well, this is Moorish, when it may not be with the Moorish kind. It may be another nationality's dress. And you know, remember, people or other nationalities who are really into their culture, they know when you're not in yours. Because you're adopting something that's not yours. Did I see your hand, sis?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
If I may,
Yes, ma'am.
is there a place where someone can go and search and find that? Because if you Google it, we don't have an example of it.
Right.
So you
Right.
do have the Facebook page, is somebody updating
Right.
the Facebook page to show, okay, this is what we wear, or
Right.
what we're supposed to wear, because as new members, we don't
Yeah.
know, we don't see it as often.
Right. Not only as new members, it's just some of our old members, they don't either. But listen, that's a good idea. You know, I think that we all could aid in this regard. If we could all find something that we could have placed on our Facebook page to let us see what particularly belongs to us.
Yes.
You know, let's find out what belongs to us, something that we can stand on. I'm not saying that you're not to wear any other Islamic attire. That's your choice. But at least know what yours is before we out pushing somebody else's.
Come on.
Islam, in line with what the sister asked, there is a internet link called International Archive, and you can link to the Moroccan and various other North African museums who have preserved the garb of the Moors, and they maintain graphic images that you can see, but you just got to use the link.
Come on.
Islam, I wanted to ask a question about the feds.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, you know, like sometimes you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
short feds.
Yeah.
So the question I want to ask, is there any significance to it? Because, you know, I see the prophet, he be one, you know, around this height.
Right.
So can you explain what's the difference of the significance?
Well, not only where it's made, but also what it represents.
Right.
See, that fades the way the prophet words it represents something, and he tells you what it represents on that chart. You don't see a short one. You see one that's equivalent to the one length that he wears, and that's the reason for that. That's the reason why the prophet calls it figure number one. And you know, you don't see no half. You see one, the length that we have, the ones that we wear are the ones that he says imitate how your prophet, and that's the length of the ones he wears. Now the tassels are different, because you'll see some tassels, some persons cut their tassels a little shorter than others. But usually this remains the same.
But we should have our tassels at 12 inches.
Well, yeah, well, I try to see where his comes, and I try to keep in mind where his is, and I try to just about cut mine where he cuts his. You know, a lot of the things, you know, some things I'm hesitant to imitate because I don't know what it means. But nonetheless, if he has it like that, I'd rather make an error by imitating it than to make an error by not imitating it.
No, our prophet is right.
Yes, that's what I said.
That's right.
Come on.
One thing I thought about is, being that we're we civilized the world, and we've shown them how to do a lot of things.
Right.
The thought that comes to mind is, who knows where they got those attire and dress from? Because, you know, if they copied us at that time of the prophet, they copied us in those ancient days too. So variations of what we used to wear probably came about on how we dress in terms of royalty.
Right.
You know, a lot of those clothes and garbs look of royalty. I'm not saying that they don't have their own distinctive, they've landed in their own cultures, but I'm saying I can see similarities to, you know, and I think that's where a lot of the Moors gravitate to some of the things that look kind of similar, because that's all we have access to.
Right. But like, and I agree with that 100%. And remember something, just like in these times, in those times, they had styles. People accepted certain styles. That's right. You know, and when they accepted certain styles, alterations were made. The key is what I'm trying to get you to think about is see if you can find out specifically what ours was. See if you can find out what we do. And see if we can find out what we do, we can start to develop some type of pride in what we have. We don't need nobody's nothing. The main thing is to fall in love with what we got.
We got our own.
We got our own. And see, in these days, every tongue must confess his own, in his attire and in the words that they speak. Come on.
Is the Quran or the Koran, the Muslim book, are they considered both as Islam?
What?
In other words, I'm saying if I had the Quran, the one start with a Q,
yeah,
I might not pronounce it back, and I had my Holy Quran,
yeah,
are they both the same?
are they both the same? Well, what we have is divine instructions come directly
From our prophet, right? Mhm.
The Koran, or the Koran,
Right,
the one that you have, or that we read, is a translation.
translation,
Because the true Koran is written in Arabic.
right,
So for us to have it in our possession,
right,
it must be translated.
right. So
And when you translate something, you change stuff.
that's right. That's right.
And when you change stuff, you alter it. So that's why I believe it's so important that before you start to pursue other materials that you read pertaining to religious things, get a foundation in your own. Because that's your foundation. Then once you establish your foundation, you build upon it. But you can't go into somebody else's interpretation or translation and you're not firm in your own.
So I mean, we're talking about Muslims. We're talking about Muslim and Muslim. Are they both the same?
That's a pronunciation. That's a pronunciation. A Muslim is a Muslim. If he calls himself a Muslim is a Muslim. But the Prophet so told us, we say Muslim.
Right.
We spell out M-O-S-E, S. Thank you. L-E-M. But over there, they M-U-S. But the fact of the matter is, a Muslim is a Muslim, and the Prophet tells us to use Muslim. That's because I've never seen in any of the literature where he said Muslim.
Islam, yeah.
Yeah.
Just for the brother's understanding, one is Occidental, the other is Oriental. The Occidental is Western, M-O. There is no O in Arabic. The other one is Occidental. That's Muslim. That's where the U come from. There is no difference other than the origin of geography. Other than that, the definition is still exactly the same. One who submits his will to the will of God.
No. I just want,
It's also to help the brother,
Go ahead, Mom.
we derive our power from the Quran.
Yes. Now remember, the Quran of Mecca is written in Arabic.
That's right.
It's not translated. It's translated, but for us to get the true essence of the Holy Quran of Muhammad, we would have to be able to read Arabic. Because once you translate anything, you alter it.
The prophet did.
You got to change something.
The prophet did.
And one change in a truth alters it. See, in Pickthall, when he translated, at one time, they stopped using the word, if I'm not mistaken, Allah. In their translation.
Mm-hmm.
Like Yusuf Ali got a dictionary translation.
Yeah.
Like King James got a translation of the Bible.
But see, and we're not saying not to read it. We're saying get firm in your own. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you not to read it. I'm not telling you not to accept what's in it. But I'm saying for your benefit, get established in your own. Come on.
That's all, Brother Jones, you're absolutely correct. Because when you're building, first of all, you gotta understand what the prophet brought you first. In that English language, you'll be able to unlock certain keys when you read other books. Other books do not give you what the prophet gives you.
Right.
You have to take what the prophet gives you first.
Right.
And stay on that course. When you learn what the prophet gives you, you'll be surprised how easy you'll look at other books and you'll see what they mean to you and what they do not mean to you. So you have to be on course with the prophet. Just like the question is, it is very important. All those literature the prophet put out is very important because we read English in this land where we live in. Peace.
And remember, sometimes we overlook it when we start reading other things. And we come in contact with certain things that we were not aware of, and now all of a sudden we're learning stuff. But you gotta keep this in mind at all times. Our Holy Koran is divine.
Come on, Bo. Come on,
That's divine.
that's right.
That is the word of Almighty God Allah beyond the shadow of a doubt. You got to build with that.
Make it plain.
You got to build with that.
Mm-hmm.
See, some I've heard that some misguided individuals say, well, I got to check the Koran. I got to use this book to check the Koran. But how can you do that? How can you take something that's worldly to check out something divine?
Come on, Bo.
That's backwards. That's like the glory and shame being misplaced. So keep that in mind. Just if you get firm with what you got, you'll find out it'll open the doors for anything else you read. Anything you read. If you get founded in your Koran, you can read anything and be able to identify
Come on.
the truth from the falsehood.
Come on now. And that's the key, bro, Grand Chief.
Yeah,
You say we read them other books, but will you be able to distinguish the truth
from the falsehood.
and comprehend it?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
The prophet tells us don't mix his teaching.
Yeah,
That's right,
Or
Bo.
he commit a terrible doom.
That's right, Mo.
That's
That's
right.
what he said. Yeah.
That's right.
That's what he
Come
said.
on.
Islam. It's also reported that the prophet said, I'm 5 times more powerful than I was before.
Right.
Even in the Holy Quran of Mecca, it states that every time a prophet comes, it goes up in degrees.
Right.
So, that confirms what the prophet is saying. So like you're saying, once you read this Quran,
Yeah.
everything, like the brothers were saying, everything else, like, becomes more, what I want to say, easier to interpret.
Right.
Because I can go to the Bible and get what I need to get out of it. I can go to the Quran and get what I need to get out of it. But like you said, you just got to stay founded with this, because this is the highest form of Islam that we have in this era of time.
Right. Hey, bro, cool here.
Praise Allah to the Prophet. More Sanskrit America Quran is 63 pages, 48 chapters. And he said, Prophet Muhammad said, a kid wouldn't make a error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make it so plain. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Wait a minute. Come on, bro. Talk to me.
He took it out.
Oh, he took it.
Yes,
He just came up there and took it, didn't he? Just took it from me.
Well, Bob, do the same thing.
Come on, bro.
Every time I call Brother Kenan Bay,
Right.
he always explained to me, he said, Mo, because I got a lot of Christians that I talk to on the telephone.
Right.
And when I bring the prophet's teachers into it, they get so confused.
Right.
You understand? I said, the gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah.
Right.
I said, maybe you're not ready for it.
Right.
You understand? And Kenan Bay always tells me, don't mix this up.
Right.
He said, stay with what the prophet brings us.
That's right. That's
You understand? And he pounds that into me every time I call him.
That's right,
You
bro.
know what I mean?
Right. And look, you gotta watch your language when you talk to people. That's not being taught like we're taught.
Right.
It's not healthy to tell a person maybe you're not ready for it.
Okay.
Because that's gonna make them, to me, some of you saying that to me, what you mean I'm not ready? You're gonna get some resentment.
Yeah.
So, it's like it tells us, leave me to mine, I leave you to yours.
Right.
Because we're not here to try to find out who's the smartest.
Right.
Come on, Mo.
Come on.
It's not praise God. I say prophet of the world. I was thinking earlier when you spoke about foundation.
Yeah.
And you was talking about our custom and we learning ours.
Yes.
Yeah. In these teachings,
Yeah.
you start with your foundation.
Yeah.
You gotta first learn what the foundation is.
Yeah.
Or what a foundation is.
Yeah.
So we gotta go in our step.
Yeah.
We come here and ask questions.
Yeah.
But we gotta go in our study.
Yeah.
You know, certain things you look up and find out what it is, what it means.
Yeah.
First, that's where we need to start.
Yeah.
What is a foundation?
Yeah.
Okay, now you spoke about Muslim and Muslim.
Yeah.
If you look it up, you'll see it's the same. It's just the spelling is different.
Right.
You know, now when we're talking to other people, like Christian community, you know, you use Allah, you use God. If you know what it means, it's the same.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking to a Christian person, I'm not gonna say Allah,
Right.
you know,
Right.
I say God,
Right.
because Allah is God,
Right.
you know, and I'm trying to keep it where they can understand it. You know, when you say Allah, they, you know, they start, you know, trying to convert me. You know? So you have to start with your foundation,
Right.
like it was said earlier,
Right.
and then you kind of move around.
Right.
But you gotta first know what the foundation is, and then build on.
Right.
Period.
Right. Okay, look.
I'm going to say briefly, did
Come
I
on.
hear you reading that article, something about a Moorish parade too, along
Right.
the costume?
Right.
The ball?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But that's something that we basically got away from.
Well, we done got away from the parade,
Right.
and we definitely got away from the costume ball. They have a costume ball, but it's not a real costume ball.
Right.
You know, we got a little other stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So we, they, you know, they say, they, like they were saying, well, if you don't have a costume, you can wear a tuxedo. But then it stops being a costume. See, sometimes in our effort to try to promote a practice of ours, we permit other things to come in. And once we do that, it alters what we're really trying to promote. You know? So when we get to the point in our development, when we can say we're gonna have a costume ball, it's gonna be a costume ball. But we gotta get to that.
That's not, I wanna add, cause I've listened to everything. When you do find, references to the Moorish costumes, also look up what each piece, what part of the costume, what they mean. Cause when they was creating the costumes, it had a meaning to it. Like when it was talking earlier about our turbans and the crown and the victory in front. Also the pantaloons, everything has a purpose, everything has a meaning. So when you stop examining, looking up and exploring things, also see what does it mean. It's really deep, it's really important to each and every one of us.
Praise the Lord. Come on, man.
I just had a concern, when we're talking to another person, Christian or whatever kind of religion, why would we need to compromise our beliefs?
Yeah.
If we talk to a Christian, we might say God, but we're saying Allah.
Yeah.
We talking praise Allah.
Yeah.
So why would we have to compromise just to make them understand?
Well,
You know, even when you fill out an application, there's only so many nationalities down there, black, white, Christian, all, and other. You know, so why we gotta settle for less than what we believe?
right. Well, I
That's
think
just concern.
that's a part of the science.
Right.
We have to reach people where they are. See, we're not compromising ourselves when we say God instead of Allah for their benefit. Because Allah is God. I know sometimes in your discussion, certain words make people uncomfortable. It's just the way it is. Certain words cause people to want to challenge you.
Right.
Allah, you with that Allah stuff, and they come at you. So you got to reach them, you got to be able to use your science. And once you get into a conversation, you know, it can easily be interjected. You know I'm a Muslim. And when I talk about God, I'm talking about Allah. It's a way we have to do things in dealing with people, because if you don't, you can cause more of a problem than you can cause a, to share your understanding. You got to get in before you can really Talk about what you're about.
Right.
You can't say certain words, because I tell you, I done seen certain people respond in certain ways when they hear that word. But why wouldn't they? When you turn on TV, if you look and see what's going on in the East, you hear people saying Allah Akbar, and it's blowing people up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, they doing that right now. And they let you Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Why would you associate that act with Allah? But they are identified as being Muslim. But a Muslim knows what he does to another, he does to himself. But they don't know that. So you got to be very scientific in how you deal with people.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yes, sir.
Come on, Mom.
Islam, and in that science,
Yes.
I think it's wise for Faulkner Bay to call to mind that the Quran teaches.
Yes.
He calleth forth worlds by the words of his mouth.
Yes.
Prophet said, I can throw out a spirit, cause people want to fight. And throw out another spirit to bring them back to peace.
Yeah.
No sooner a wise sentence is uttered. Those are the kinds of divine instructions that separate our Moorish Holy Quran from any other book. Look what it offers us. Look what it can solve. Look what it can promote. Look what it can prevent. There are subject matters in the Moorish Holy Quran that cannot be approached by any other book on the planet Earth ever written in this time. Trust me, I read a lot of books. And we just have to have confidence and faith in the fact that if we just stick with what our prophet brought us and really look at what the Quran is teaching us in individual circumstances, you can prevent those events from falling like leaves on withered streams. They'll have a purpose. They'll come to purpose in due time, because the very person that you're speaking to, and you might see the benefit in just saying God today, tomorrow you may have been the seed to cause them to say Allah tomorrow in here. Because Allah will order their footsteps through you as a vehicle if your spirit is right when you're talking to him. Peace.
And not only that, but look, did not the prophet tell us in Egypt he is Thoth?
Come on now.
He's Zeus in Greece. That's right. I mean, you're going to have to identify with people where they at. The advantage is we know.
Yeah, that's right.
We know that man names the part of Allah he sees. One may call him arm, another may call him leg. If that's what they see. We're not to get into a debate. Or am I trying to force what I see on you? If anything, what we're trying to do is show that they're still one and the same.
Come on now.
And the name does not alter the nature of truth. He's one and the same.
That's right.
There you talk. Come on.
Islam. Also on the front cover, Prophet Noble says, by the guidance of his father God Allah.
Yes.
He used 3 different terms. And like you're saying, he reaches you at the level that you at.
Yeah.
Because some people see him as father.
Yeah.
But like if you go to a different nationality of Muslims or Muslims, they're like, oh man, don't call him father. He don't have no children. He begets what he begot. You can't use that with them. So you have to, like you were saying, you have to reach people where they at. Yeah. Because everybody don't have that understanding, because it says, to whom do we refer to at times as being the great God. Yeah. Now we're on another level of understanding.
Yeah. Come on now.
You see what I'm saying? So once we get to that understanding, then we can use certain terminology. Yeah. And like I say, man, you gotta, in order for you to propagate, you gonna have to reach people where they at, wherever along the road, because everybody not on the same on that same level.
Accommodate themselves.
Because everybody don't get it at the same time. So once they get it, and then I can say, well, I can start using the term of law with amongst them, then that's when you use it.
Another thing too, when we are in conversations with other people or many of our people who may not be of the same mindset that we are, keep this in mind. You're not doing it for yourself itself. You try to impress somebody that you know so much.
That's right.
Your intent is very important when you start to deliver this message.
That's right.
Because if your intent is not right, you're going to create more of a problem.
Come on, now.
It ain't about you.
That's right. That's right.
It's about being used as an instrument to impart to those who may not be aware of the fact that God is in them.
Yes, sir. Come on, now. Yes, sir. Come on, now.
So you want to make sure you don't get caught up in my want to do what I got to teach you. I got to get my, I got to breathe on. What are you breathing?
Yes, sir.
Saying all that to say,
That's right.
saying all that to say, make sure that your intent is right.
Yes, ma'am.
Come on, my kid.
Islam, I just want to say that the prophet said you're not going to wake us all up at once.
That's what he said.
Oh, that's right. That's right, sis. Let us know. That's right.
Okay, one thing. Wait a minute. I'm getting some other things that's pointed out in this article that you need to pay attention to. Come on. What else is in this article that's very informative to us?
That the prophet gave consent. Prophet gave consent.
Okay.
That this could be about entertainment.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Come on, Mom.
What stand out for me is when it says when more barbaric tribes from the north were ravishing all countries, they were permitted to enter. It was the forefathers of the Moorish Americans and their near kin that saved the historic records that were threatened during the days when the burning of libraries was a fad for despotic soldiers.
Yeah.
You know, once you learn how, I ain't gonna say learn, but when you individual that try to destroy history, now you can create your own history.
Right.
And that's what is real important with the prophet saying to me, because like you can go in the dictionary and you look up the word Moorish, or some dictionaries it might say Moorish dance.
Yes.
They used to do that over in England. They used to darken their faces and dress up like us and dance down the street because they took it.
Yeah.
So once you take it and destroy the history, you won't even know that, oh, okay, the Moors was in England at one time. They was in Ireland at one time. You won't even know these things because they came and destroyed the record so they could distort history and make it their present day.
That's right. That's right. What about this? It says the Moorish costume ball will be among the first of such giving, where an idea is put forth that has to do with the origin of the millions of people in this country who can trace their ancestors back to the illustrious founders of civilization.
Come on, Mom. Beast right there.
There it is, Mom.
That's the beast.
That's it. I mean, we are being taught to do what? Trace ourselves. Trace ourselves to what? The illustrious history that we gave to who? Civilization. I mean, think about that. And think about all our people they don't even know that.
That's right.
Now, the only way that we can help them to understand or to know that or to make note of it is that we have to what? Yeah, study, no question. But more importantly, what? Practice. Because men comprehend the inner life by what they see. So that means you have to project something in your words, your acts, and your deeds. And you must, in that, let the actions of your what? Show what? So now you're starting to manifest it. And if you notice, words, acts, and deeds. Not just the words by trying to impress people with what you have attained by way of your accumulation of human knowledge that must perish within the grave. It's about the way you live your what? Your life. See, it automatically has to be a change once you accept this way of life. Something has to change about you if you accept this way of life. It's nowhere in the world that you will be the same if you accept this way of life. Because with this way of life, you are renewing your acts and amending your ways. So people that used to know you start to take note of the fact that it's something different about you. It's something different about you. But then again, they will look at you if you're not committed and tell you, look, why don't you stop faking? Come on. You faking. You say this, but around the corner, you do that. So your way of life or our way of life is very important that we not only demonstrate it, but we accept this way of life ourselves. So you can't, you can be a yes, representative, that's what it is. You can be a misrepresentative of the movement.
That's right, Mo.
When you don't accept the teachings yourself.
That's right.
It's all about stuff.
Yeah.
Could you help me out a minute? Could you read that part that you just read, the beginning, where it spoke about the idea?
Yeah. It says, the Moorish costume ball will be among the first of such given, where an idea is put forth that has to do with the origin of the millions of people in this country who can trace their ancestors back to the illustrious founders of civilization.
The idea.
It's an idea.
So the idea was
I get
lost.
you to think.
Yeah.
We lost the idea.
We lost
it.
So when the idea was put forth,
Yes.
it puts you in a position to think.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's what that thought did. And see, and what went along with it? The costume.
That's right.
Because all that played a part of helping you to what?
Remember.
To remember. That's it, Mo.
Remember.
Now I can associate the attire with the people who you talking about. You know? Yeah.
Also, I recognize something you read in there about the time too. Say it was after the New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all our holidays has this time,
Yeah.
like Tag Day,
Yeah.
Prophet's birthday,
Yeah.
and New Year's.
Yeah.
So I think that's important at times. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, we can't just do it any time of the year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not.
Because remember, the prophet consented to this.
Mm-hmm.
If he consented to this, there was a time element involved.
Yeah.
When he said, okay, that's all right, let's do that, it's okay for you to do it. So that means that during a certain period, this action or this act is appropriate for the idea to express itself. Come on.
Islam, I just want to point out what impresses me is that, of course, all the points of the article,
Yes.
but how beautifully and almost journalistic brilliance
Yeah,
was behind the writing of the article.
yeah,
I mean, if you really listen to whoever penned that,
yeah,
it's almost like they were being divinely guided to put every point
yeah,
in that article to
Yeah.
make it so clear
yeah,
for us to understand the idea.
yeah.
It's beautifully written, and so much of our of the articles in our Moorish literature fall in that same spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's undeniable that Allah is just the presence of our literature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which makes it so valuable, aside from the fact that it offers salvation.
Yeah.
But it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah. Yeah. But as you start to climb yourselves, you will start to see parts of this, of these articles, and especially the ones that say by the prophet.
Yes.
You'll start to see different levels of that article
Islam.
yourself.
Islam.
And certain things will appeal to you.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that really appeared to me is when he talks about the one where he says the main.
Right.
It says
To mention, it will remind.
yeah, that's the one I'm looking, that's the part I'm looking for.
That's the one you just read. Right after that.
Near the bottom.
Okay, all right.
Right.
All right. Oh, yeah, that's, thank you, Lord. Look, it will, look what the idea will do. Come on, Lord. It will remind. He said this will remind. It will remind the descendants of these people. The descendants being who?
Us.
Us. It will remind the descendants of these people of the time when their forefathers were the main people to spread the most progressive ideas
Yes.
of civilization.
Islam.
That's a strong statement.
Yes, it is. Islam.
Yes, it is.
Islam.
That's a strong statement.
It's, yeah. It sure is.
I mean, look at the history that's imparted to us in this article that we could have read 100 times or more. But certain things, it's there, but it just didn't stand out like it's standing out.
Praise God from the grand sheet you made at the topic of Sunday school.
Praise God for that.
Yes, sir.
But you know, it's something important because if we're trying to remember who we are, we must really understand the contributions that our forefathers have made to the world.
That's right.
Or to civilization.
Yes.
Come on, amazing man.
And then the last it said, in fact, they say civilization many times.
That's right.
We're trying to do that now.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. When you consider the fact you are today without doubt or contradiction who your forefathers.
That's right.
So, that's right. Come on.
Yeah, history, the Moorish history, well, I said the Asiatic history has been distorted so badly, where our people begin to believe what they've been told. They are not going in the library. Matter of fact, you don't find this in the library. Nothing about Noble Ali. If I go in the library today and I'll say, give me a book on Noble Ali. It's not publicized. You know, where that you can go put your hand on it. Where our children can go learn from it. So we are so like in a condition where we're pounded around the negativity attitude of what we're trying to change into a positive one. Just like telling the brother who he is, or you know what I'm saying, or trying to do the right thing. We are in a condition in this world when we have to come out of it and come into one world, and that's the universe, the Moorish universe. That's the only way.
Islam, Muslim, that's why Act 6 is so important.
Come on, Mo.
Act 6 it evolved me so many times when the prophet says, with us, all Moorish Americans must proclaim their nationality.
That's right.
See, when we were stripped of our nationality, we were stripped of our identity.
Everything.
Once we were stripped of our identity, we came into what they call identity crisis. We started identifying with things that we thought was great and this, that, and the third. And like you were saying about that idea had to be put back into our minds how great we really are. Because we were those people back in those days. So we got to be reminded and be given our proper identity back. So when the prophet said that, man, that's why it says this is the reason why. Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained to draw the prophet to redeem the people from their sinful ways. Because he brought us back our identity. So now we can proclaim and be true to who we really are. So that's how important Act 6 is, and what you grace in the Sunday school.
And the prophet said that these are secret lessons. These lessons have been held back. You understand?
From civilization. That's that.
Oh, there you go.
From civilization.
These lessons ain't available to everybody.
So that's what condition
You understand? They secret.
That's what they
That's what the
was.
prophet said.
They was.
Now you can see one of the reasons for the quote. Well, I'm not gonna wake all the age addicts up at once.
Exactly.
All these things, see, sometimes we take for granted because we know certain things.
Right.
We've been exposed to certain things. And we think when we're being exposed to certain things, that everybody's supposed to know it. But everybody ain't being woke up.
Right.
Everybody ain't thinking like us.
They sure ain't.
But that's because it's not their time. It's your time to bring the way you think in accord with the way you act. That's your time. That's the time that we're in now. What's the use of waking people up or instructing or sharing things with people that's not willing to renew their acts on in their ways? They got to see how important it is. The thought must be acted out. You say that you're Muslim, it must be acted out. Because right now they have a misconception of what Muslims are. You got to act this out. They comprehend what they see. You can't say one thing and then project something else, which we have a tendency to do, especially when we get around people and we want to show off. Come on.
This kind of reminds me of just going back to when you said science.
Yes.
And when you look at nature,
Yes.
when you plant a seed, you
Yes.
don't get the tree right away.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Right. You have to allow the process.
That's the process.
Just like we had to go through the process.
That's right.
Because I say something, you're not gonna get it right away.
That's right.
So you might just be the person to plant the seed.
That's right.
And that's it.
That's right.
Be content with it.
That's right. That's right.
Praise God on the prophet. According to what the brother said, I want to said earlier, meaning that the foundation, you got to start with the foundation.
Yeah.
Then build off the foundation.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Yeah. Peace. Come on, Cooper.
Praise God to the prophet. Prophet knows you gotta say, listen to the radio, prophet knows you gotta say, listen to the radio and read the newspaper. He was talking about going to the library and trying to find out a lot of things about the Moroccans and the Moors. So when he done that, it was doing back in the time of the prophet, trying to bring the nationality. So when they saying go to the library, it was like trying to say lift you up as an Asiatic. So he was trying to lift you up as an Asiatic. He was trying to bring you into Islam. And he was doing it at that time. He was trying to make sure that he was with the prophet, trying to say that you're a Moorish American now, at this time. So at that time, that the prophet was saying he was a prophet, he was living as a prophet, saying that he was with Islam. Islam.
That's right.
Yeah.
All this kick into our curiosity. Start examining more.
Yeah.
But
But look what you're doing. We grabbed hold to the idea.
That's it.
We're just discussing the idea, the thought. We grabbed it. It's brought to you. Here's the idea. What have you done? I've grabbed it. Now I want to talk about the idea. It should. It should. Yeah. Wait a minute. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, we gotta go there. We gotta go here because I don't want to.
I'm looking at the time.
Yeah, I was looking at the time of this. Chapter 15, Divine Ministry of Jesus. Jesus goes to the wilderness for self-examination, where he remains 40 days, is subjected to 3 temptations. He overcomes, returns to the camp of John, and begins teaching. The harbinger had paved the way. The Logos had been introduced to men as love made manifest. And he must now begin his divine ministry. And he went forth into the wilderness to be what? Alone. So why did he venture into the wilderness? To be alone. To be alone. What is the advantage of being alone in the wilderness?
Less distractions.
Less distractions, yeah. What else? What's some of the advantages of you being with yourself? Silence. Yes.
Meditation.
Silence, as long as there's no noise being relayed to you by the way you're thinking. Yeah, and you can reflect. Hopefully you can reflect, but you know the minute you try to get still, you have more thoughts. And those thoughts are to be used as what? Distraction. If you are distracted, you fail to be what? Still, yes, but what? Focus. You lack focus. Do you know how important focus is when you read this, or when you're trying to involve yourself into an endeavor that you're trying to undertake for your betterment? You got to be focused, because the minute that you become unfocused is when you cut your energy.
Lack of concentration.
A lack of concentration. That's right. See, concentration, we have to be taught how to concentrate.
That's right. Yes, sir.
We got to. See, you can't take for granted that you can concentrate. Because there's a part of you that won't allow you to do so.
That's the first level of meditation.
That's right. Concentration.
Concentration,
That's right.
meditation, and contemplation is the highest level.
That's right. That's right. So we got to learn how to concentrate. Once we learn how to concentrate, we can focus on what we want to attain. Anything can be attained if you can focus on it. You will bring it into manifestation as long as it is of a righteous nature. But remember, that same concentration, whatever can do good, can also do what? So you have to be careful. And so you go into yourself. You go to check yourself out in the wilderness within yourself. What does that mean? We know that he went into a physical wilderness too. But what does it mean to go into the wilderness? To be alone.
Go within.
Yeah, it means that go within, yes. Yes. But what is it about the wilderness?
State of mind.
Yes, but what is it about the wilderness? Yes, all that takes place outside of the wilderness. But what significance is the wilderness?
It's a blank slate.
Get in harmony with your Father God.
And
The lower self. Yeah.
Get in harmony with
That's where the lower self
Get
is.
in harmony with
And
your
that
Father
will.
God.
there are no preconceived or pre-developed distractions. Everything is natural. I mean, well, it's undeveloped. It's not pre-created.
So,
You're starting from scratch. You're starting with a blank slate, so to speak.
Okay.
At least that's my thought.
But that's nothing wrong with your thoughts. But it behooves us to find out what significance is the wilderness, because that's where we got to go.
That's where he is.
That's where we got to go. So we got to have some kind of idea of what we're going into, because you're going by yourself.
That's right.
Come on, Mom.
It's long, Mo.
No, brother
I
Martin.
was just gonna say it's a test.
It will be. It will be, because we found out that when he went into the wilderness alone, he did have a test.
Tempted came.
That's right. He had a test with himself.
And Brother Pastor, I can see the significance of why you place the emphasis on the wilderness. Why it was, because it could have been, we go somewhere else, in the basement, in the house, you know what I mean, or inside, but he chose the wilderness for a reason.
Yeah. See,
That's
he
where
went
salvation
into
is.
the wilderness to do what? Be alone. Now, I got to know, what significance does that wilderness present to me?
Right.
Because in that condition,
Come on, man.
I'm going to learn something
That's right. That's right.
about myself.
That's right.
But it has to be in that area. That's why I asked, what is that wilderness? What is it? What is the wilderness? Come on.
Islam. I'm gonna read the definition. One of the definitions, it says an unsettled, uncultivated region left in its natural conditions. And like you saying, what can do good also can do harm. Because when you going into the wilderness, you're gonna automatically start getting assaulted as well. All good things not gonna come to you when you're in the wilderness. Sometimes your lower self start to assault you while you're in there. And just like it did with Jesus, it started to, attack, throwing out temptations and stuff like that. So when you go into that wilderness, it's gonna be some good things come out of it, and it's gonna be some things that can throw you off the path, because you can be reading these lessons, and then I know I had a tendency sometimes to read the lessons, and I'd be like, oh, I had that aha moment, what that mean? But the first thing I do is think about, oh, this is the person I'm gonna use this on. You know what I'm saying? Instead of using it on myself. And that's why that concentration is so important. If you go into the wilderness, you're going to be alone with yourself to, cut out all the naughty and games, useless parts in yourself, not nobody else. So you got to stay focused, with that. And that's why I try to, like when you go into that wilderness, you're going to be met with some tests.
Well, look, when you go into the wilderness, it's an uncultured region. That means no restraints.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no restraints, you're going to be confronted with something. What do yourself, your unrestrained self. Not only your higher self, that's in man, but you got a part of you that's totally contradicting. It contradicts that higher self. And in an unconscious, unrestrained area, that thing come up. That's why idle mind is the devil's workshop. See, and there, you're not. It's nothing to check you. You're not checking right now, and it's going 100 miles a minute. That's why. Look, it came up. What came up? The tempter.
That's right.
Because you hadn't restrained it.
All the doors was unlocked.
All of them. It's an uncultured area.
And anything can come in.
Anything.
Allah
Come on, Mo.
or the devil.
Come on, Mo.
That's right.
Come on.
I would say an untapped environment.
Yes, an untapped environment. Yes, that's good.
That's good.
That's good. Untapped. Untapped by way of what?
Controlling your thoughts.
Okay.
Thoughts.
Okay. Especially thoughts. Especially thoughts. Especially unruly thoughts. Because see, in that moment, something is taking place. Something is trying to gain control. The influencer is making itself present, making itself open to you. Those little those little thoughts that we thought we had in check, now they gonna surface too.
That's right, boss.
We got a rumble now. That's why you gotta be by yourself.
Right. It's law. It's law.
You got to be by yourself. You don't need nobody telling you what they would do.
Right.
On the outside, well, you know what, if it was me, I do this. You don't need that. You got to deal with your own influences from within yourself and how you thinking. Come on here.
Islam. Islam, boy. Islam. You know, listening to the conversation, I was thinking as you asked that question about the wilderness. I think one of the other things that came to me is the question why? Why was he going into the wilderness? And I think that's one of the important questions that we have to ask ourselves. You were trying to get us to identify what the wilderness is.
Yeah.
What's also is clear, or what becomes clear, is that Jesus chose to go there for a reason.
Yep.
And none of us can just say, well, I'm going to the wilderness, but you got to go there for a reason. The first part of his reason was to be alone with Allah. And then he said the second part, or one of the other parts that came out of it, was to note his strength and worthiness. So when we go into the wilderness, first identifying what the wilderness is to us.
Yeah.
Because one of the main things that I'm getting out of this, as to wanting to know why you went there, with all the other things that were highlighted, because it does open up those other doors, but those other doors have to be open. But your reason for being there is to also make sure that you don't lose your overall purpose. Hey. The tempter is trying to keep you from the purpose of why you went there. You're supposed to be there noting your strength and worthiness, and the tempter is trying to get you not to note that. As we go further into the chapter, of course, we'll realize what significance it was for Jesus to have done this, and that he stayed on point. Ultimately, he had to be challenged, but he had to be able to meet the challenges based on the reason why he went there. We can easily get distracted and lose focus on the reason that we even are making this pursuit. So he had to stay and be challenged to see if he could hold that thought. So that's part of what I took from some of that.
That's good. Look, and I'm gonna leave you with this part, because this is, and that's real good. And he went forth into the wilderness to be alone with Allah, that he might look into his inner heart.
Yes, that was one of the other reasons.
He went into the wilderness to look into what? His inner heart. And note its strength and worthiness.
This is the reason why we're here.
That's a good observation.
This is the reason why we're here. I'm seeking that. Yeah.
We're talking about our inner heart. And look, give me something that you can identify with your inner heart.
That is in the wilderness.
It is, but something. Let me see if I can word it so we can get it up. What does the inner heart produce?
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
A true picture.
What you say? Stillness. What you say?
Stillness.
truth,
Principle.
thought. Remember, it was from Allah's heart that the thought sprang forth. As a seed, you got to go into your inner heart to look at them seeds that done been planted there. Because out of Allah's heart, the seed came forth.
That's right. That's why I'm here.
And we also have within our inner heart seeds that we have got in there that sometimes we don't pay attention to.
That's right. That's right. Thank God.
So we've got to go into the inner heart to make some examination.
That's right.
How am I thinking? What is this thing I'm holding? What have I planted here?
I'm a weapon. Human weapon.
Maybe I shouldn't comment.
You're a weapon.
Hold that.
Peace.
You gotta go, peace.
Human weapon.
I do the prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen.